So, have you ever looked at your life, looked around at your relationships, and just felt this painful, burning frustration of constantly being the one who gives while everyone else just seems to take? You pour your time, your energy, and literally all your empathy into other people, only to end up totally exhausted, burned out, and honestly feeling completely used. Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack exactly why this happens and, much more importantly, how to actually stop it. And I promise you, the solution is definitely not what you might think. It's not about suddenly becoming cold, and it's not about shutting the world out. It's actually about understanding a very specific psychological dynamic that's probably playing out right under your nose. And this brings us to the core question we really have to ask ourselves. Why do people take advantage? When you're stuck in that awful cycle of being used, it is incredibly easy to just look in the mirror and think, okay, there's something wrong with me. I must have some fundamental character flaw. But what if I told you that being taken advantage of isn't a flaw in your personality at all? What if it's actually just a mechanical issue, like a glitch in how you're communicating your limits to the world around you? To understand this glitch, we first have to look at the narrative we tell ourselves. Section 1, the kindness trap. Now, this is the internal story that so many people pleasers and chronic givers hold on to, and it's what keeps them stuck on this endless hamster wheel of exhaustion and resentment. I mean, how many times have you caught yourself saying this? I just care too much, or I'm just too nice. We tell ourselves this internal myth, right? Because, let's face it softens the blow of feeling exploited. But here is the real danger. By saying you're too nice, you mistakenly view your natural inclination toward kindness, which, by the way, is a beautiful, positive trait, as the root of your suffering. You end up blaming your own goodness. But let's see how this actually builds into the real root of the problem. And that brings us right into Section 2, decoding boundary collapse. Okay, let's dive into this because the truth is the exploitation you're experiencing is not happening because you're nice. It's happening because of a hidden script, a sort of underlying set of mechanics in human behavior that dictates exactly who gets respected and who gets drained. This is a dynamic known as boundary collapse. It's where unclear interpersonal limits actually signal availability for exploitation. And honestly, this proves that what you're experiencing is a recognized observable behavioral pattern. It's not a personal failing. When you don't clearly define where you end and someone else begins, a collapse happens. And that collapse, well, it creates a vacuum. Now, nature hates a vacuum, and trust me, so do opportunistic people. When your boundaries collapse, or when they're just totally unclear from the start, they basically act as two things. First, a signal flare of availability. Imagine walking into a room with a bright red, glowing neon sign over your head that says, hey, I have endless time and energy for your problems. Now, you obviously never intended to turn that sign on, but missing boundaries broadcast that dangerous message to the world anyway. Second, they act as an open invitation for exploitation. You're unintentionally telling people that there's absolutely no toll booth on the road to your resources. Which leads us to a deeply uncomfortable truth in Section 3, when kindness signals weakness. And this brilliantly illustrates the disconnect. We really have to face the fact that not everyone operates with the same moral compass that you do. While you're out there operating from a place of pure generosity, the wrong people are completely misinterpreting your well-intentioned actions. Just look at the stark contrast in how this plays out. Your intent is kindness without limits. You want to be helpful, you want to be the person people can rely on. But their perception is weakness or availability for exploitation. The exploiter doesn't look at your endless giving and think, wow, what a wonderfully generous soul, I should really protect them. No, they think, oh, here's someone who won't stop me. It's literally a predatory perception directly feeding off your generous intent. We have to let this harsh reality really sink in. Kindness without limits gets read as weakness by the wrong people. Think about it. If you don't put a fence around your garden, you can't exactly be surprised when people walk all over your flowers, right? To an opportunistic person, a lack of limits isn't viewed as this precious gift to be cherished. It's viewed as a green light to just take more. And they're going to keep taking until you have absolutely nothing left to give, simply because you never gave them a reason to stop. So how do we actually fix this? Welcome to Section 4, the boundary reframe. So the crucial point is, this is where we completely shift the paradigm. This is where you stop being the victim of your own good intentions and you start becoming the architect of your own peace. You must realize this absolutely crucial truth. You're not too nice. You've just never been taught that kindness needs boundaries to survive. I want you to just let that wash over you for a second. You do not have to kill your kindness to survive in this world. You just have to protect it. I mean, no one ever handed you an instruction manual that said, pure kindness left out in the wild without any defense will get eaten alive. So here is your ultimate survival strategy, broken down into two really simple steps. Step 1, stop blaming your kindness.
Your empathy is a superpower, it's not a sickness. Please don't let exploiters convince you that being a good person is a bad thing. Step 2. Build boundaries to ensure that kindness survives. We really need to redefine what a boundary actually is. A boundary is not some giant brick wall that you build to keep everyone out and isolate yourself. No, a boundary is the essential armor your kindness needs so that it can continue to exist for the people who actually deserve it.
So think about your life right now. Think about the specific person or the situation that is just draining you the most. You have the power to change this script. You have the power to turn off that signal flare of endless availability. So I'm going to leave you with this final vital question. What boundary will you build to let your kindness survive today? Will you finally say no to that extra project? Will you stop answering texts from that one person after 8 p.m.? Whatever it is, put your armor on. Your kindness is worth protecting. Thanks so much for joining me in this explainer, and I will see you next time.